Welcome to the Medical Device Made Easy podcast. Here is Monir El Azzouzi from easymedicaldevice.com, and today we'll talk about a topic that is sometimes intimidating for some quality and regulatory affairs people, which is cybersecurity. So mainly we had a lot of episodes about cybersecurity, but this time I wanted really to give you some perspective about quality and regulatory affairs. So mainly you as a quality and regulatory affairs, how you should behave regarding this topic that can be, as I've said, really intimidating. So we will have a review mainly of cybersecurity, which is sometimes seen as a topic for engineering or IT, but as soon as the auditors from notified bodies or FDA are coming and asking questions, they are looking for quality and regulatory affairs. So it's mainly where the problems are starting. So what we'll do is that we'll go through the topics about the auditor's perspective, so mainly what they will ask and any evidence, what are the evidence that they need. We'll go also through the post-marketing cybersecurity, so mainly how to handle the incidents, vulnerabilities once the device is on the market. We'll go through the link with other standards because it's not only one, there are many. We will also go through one important topic, and it's where mainly all the problems are coming, which is the suppliers and components. And the last topic will be SBOM. So what is this word? So software bill of material, and we'll look at that mainly and helping you. And at the end, I will try to give you some kind of checklist or recipe list of what you should ask yourself and verify if you are really compliant to then be able to help your company. Okay, now when you are in front of an auditor, notified body or FDA inspector, the last thing that you want to hear is a silence when they are asking you, so show me your cybersecurity evidence. so what mainly they are actually expecting from you. So let me give you a list of mainly what I think they are really expecting. So I hope this is correct. So first is the threat modeling report. So what it means that mainly you are preferably sitting with your engineering IT and you are asking them, how could someone attack this device? So this is mainly the main question. And then they should brainstorm. So for example, you have a Bluetooth enabled monitor. So can they attack that? Can they get the signal? Can they inject something inside, etc.? So mainly this should be something that you have to document and to explain mainly what is possible. And there are some tools that can help you for that, which are Streed or Dread. I don't know them really well, I just look for them. But if for a small structure like small companies, you can just use brainstorming tool with your team. So no need really to make it like a bigger, more complicated. So this is mainly for threat modeling. So then the next one is about risk management file. So when we talk about risk management, we think about ISO 14971. And here, instead of making a specific risk management file for cybersecurity, you should really include all the cybersecurity risk inside your normal risk management file. So for example, let's say that inside your file there is a line for unauthorized access leading to the wrong therapy parameters. So many they are putting some wrong data inside. So this can be creating a patient harm. So mainly what they are, or the auditors from FDA notified bodies, what they are expecting is to see what is the mitigation that you will be doing for that. So like you put encryption, authentication, or software logging, so to avoid people having access to it or easy access to it. So mainly this is what you have really to include inside your risk files, or you have to mainly show on your risk file. The next one is about anything that you have on design and development, which is verification and validation evidence for your software. So mainly this can be penetration testing, code scanning reports, or results, or fuzz testing. So mainly these are the things that the auditors can expect. So the auditors first, just in your mind, they are not expecting you to stop every attack because maybe it's not possible. But what they want you to do is to try to show them that you are trying, that you have some proofs that you are doing it or trying to do it, because a risk can happen. It's just that if you let all the doors open, it's normal that somebody will enter. But if you try to close most of them and maybe one they find it, the objective then is to mitigate the risk and to find the issue and then to correct it. So mainly you have to just prove that you have done some test verification, everything. If, for example, you are using an outsourced company to do the penetration test, keep it as a record, even if it's just redacted. So have this document to show that you have tried to do something. Next one is policies and procedures. So mainly you have to have documented policies for secure updates and patches, handling vulnerabilities, disclosures, user authentication management. So mainly this is the thing that they want to see. So imagine mainly that the auditor is asking you, how do you handle a critical vulnerability discovered tomorrow? So if your only answer is, oh, we'll check, we'll look at that when it will happen, then it's a non-conformity. So it's a big observation. So now as a QRA professional, I hear people that tells me, yes, but Monir, I'm not a cybersecurity expert, an IT expert, etc. So we are not asking you to do that. We are asking you to be like the conductor of an orchestra, and the IT, engineering, clinical, etc. They are just musicians within your orchestra, and you have to coordinate them and to work with them to really show that everything is working and you have some documentation showing that you are taking care of that. So you have to have this mindset of organization and helping others to understand what is their role, so that mainly you'll never be lost during an audit. Okay, as a famous philosopher said, I don't know, to be honest, but designing for cybersecurity is important, but maintaining it once the device is on the market is where the real challenge lies. So mainly, let's imagine that, for example, you have launched your cloud connected monitoring device, and you get a call from an hospital saying, oh, your device triggered some alert from our intrusion detection system. So what do you do? So then real action now. Okay, go. So the workflow, normal workflow that should be happening is, for example, that you have first to open a channel to get the vulnerability intake. So mainly you have to create maybe an email specific for that, or a form on your website. So you have to open the channel for the hospital, the user, even the patients, mainly to contact you to tell you there is an issue that is happening. Then you have to do the triage, because mainly all the issues are not on the same level. So you can have an issue like, oh, I forget my password. I mean, it's not really creating an issue. But if the issue is more like, oh no, we have a hack that really changed some parameters on the application, etc., then it's more critical. So you have also to put in place some kind of categorization of your of the intake of the event that happens. So mainly critical, high, low, medium, low. Then you have to do the risk assessment. So mainly verify what is the exact risk here. So is it, and the only thing is that you have always to link that to the patient safety. So does this vulnerability allow someone to change the therapy, as we said, or is it just a minor data privacy issue? Data privacy is a problem, but yeah, nobody will be dead, I hope, just because of data privacy issue. So then you do this assessment, and then you take a decision. What should you do? So should I do just a small patch, an update? Should I do a recall? For example, in the US, they're asking you a recall notification. So mainly you have to take the decision about that. And the last, which is mainly the job of QRA normally, is the reporting to authorities. So mainly in EU, you have, in case the issue can lead to a serious harm to the patient, you have to do a reporting to the authorities, or FDA also can maybe ask you for recall. So mainly the regulatory authority point is also something that you should not forget, because yeah, it's not like, oh, there is an attack, oh, it's fine, I solved it, I don't inform anybody. No, you have still to go and inform the authorities. One last point is about, again, should you do all this alone? The answer is no, but what you should do is just to verify that the processes are existing. So mainly this is your job, to verify that everything is existing, that is documented, is tested, and it's working. One thing that you can do, it's a suggestion, I know that nobody will like that, but suggestion, which is mainly to do a mock exercise or tabletop exercise where you are simulating an attack, and then you gather all your team and you see how we will react, what we should do now, what we should do next, etc. So you simulate this, and then you see how people are behaving, and that. This will help you a lot, because then when it really happens, you are not really improvising. Okay, here is now the trap that I see often. Mainly, companies are treating cybersecurity as a separate chapter for their companies. But auditors, they are expecting that you have it woven into everything. First, we have standards. So we have the standard like ISO 13485, and mainly this standard is about quality management, system management. And there you should also get SOPs mainly related to vulnerability management or secure software development. So those SOPs should be there. It's not like a separate system. Then ISO 14971, as we talked before, mainly for risk management, you should not have a cyber risk file that is separate from the main file. Keep it on the main file. Otherwise, the auditor can say, oh, you have forgotten some risk there. There is also the IEC 62304, which is mainly for lifecycle management of software. And here you will be having for sure requirements, design, verification, validation, etc. But you should not miss cybersecurity. It should be also included inside these elements also as a point of review, discussion, or whatever, but you should have that integrated. You have also the new standard, which is ISO 81001-5-1, which is about health software cybersecurity. So mainly, a lot of auditors are starting to ask it to be referenced on your documentation. So check it, verify it, and have it also on your documentation. And the last one, the famous ISO 27001 for mainly information security for your software. So these are standards that mainly the auditors or inspectors would like you to tell. So here, what I'm advising you is to put in place like a cross-reference matrix where you will be going for each of those cybersecurity requirements. You can say this cybersecurity requirement is mentioned in this ISO 13485 SOP, in this ISO 14971 risk element, in this 62304, etc. So you are putting all those elements inside the matrix, and you can then relate all those elements in the different on those different standards. And then the auditors will be happy because they will see, oh, they are really having an integrated system, which is mainly what can save you in this moment, because mainly they say, guys, they are really great. Okay, now an important chapter here. So which is most vulnerabilities don't come from your team. They come from what you use. Open source libraries, third-party modules, cloud vendors. So mainly all those elements can be a problem for you. So check that really. For example, we had this famous Log4j vulnerability in 2021. Thousands of medical devices were suddenly exposed, and mainly because they were using an open source logging library. So how do you manage mainly all those supplier risks? First, you can request from your most critical suppliers to have cybersecurity documentation. So ask for their vulnerability disclosure policy, ask for their patching schedule. Also, audit your key suppliers. I mean, it can be difficult, I know, especially those that are providing some software libraries or cloud hosting. Check if they follow ISO 27001, which can be good, or similar standards. Also, you can do that, I suppose, if you are having a contract with those providers, those suppliers. You can include some clauses inside your contract for cybersecurity. For example, a clause can be, you have to inform us within 24 hours that you had some issues or some vulnerability for this software. So that mainly it's mentioned inside the contract. And lastly, it's your decision. I mean, it's your responsibility, but you have to track all the open source dependencies that you have. Mainly you can use some tools like OWASP, dependency check, or some commercial scanners that you can mainly use for checking which libraries you are using. So now, as again, everybody will say yes, but can a QA do all this alone? No, but you have to be the gatekeeper, if I can say, because if a supplier is selected, you can decide to stop this supplier because you don't have all those elements that are in place. So put in place some rules to say only suppliers that are mature for cybersecurity can enter, and then you can protect your company with that. Okay, now let's dive into SBOM. SBOM. What is that? So it's a software bill of materials. So think of the SBOM as the list of ingredients in a packaging of a food product, for example. So regulators wants to know exactly what is inside this software. So mainly, this is really something that is important because people will be checking when there is a vulnerability. For example, they say, oh, there is this vulnerability. They will check if you are affected about that. So let's take a concrete example. Your device uses OpenSSL version 1.0.2 and there is a new vulnerability that has been discovered with that. Then the regulator will ask, are you affected by that? If you have a SBOM, you just check on the list and you find, yes, I have 1.2.0.2, then you can say, yes, we are affected and we'll have to do something. But if you don't have an SBOM, then you are here saying, I don't know, I have to check. So now, how to build maybe the SBOM? The SBOM, you have to identify all the software components that mainly you are using within your solution. So proprietary elements or components, third party, open source. So you have to gather all those information in a list. Then you have also to get the versions of them and also the license. License also matters. So version 1.0.2, for example, and the license. And you have also to keep it up to date. So every time you do a change on your software, there is a change control elements of your software. Then you have to also update the SBOM if this is affected, if you are changing some components inside. And you can use some tools if possible, like for small companies, use Excel, no need to make it big. But for big companies or big projects, you can use some tools like Sift, CycloneDX, or SPDX. I don't know them by heart, I just listed them here. So now, again, if you are a QA person, why should I be the one that is building that? No, it's not your role to build the SBOM, but the R&D people or the IT people can do that, and you have just to verify that it has been in place and it is available and it has been updated maybe when there is a change. You are just here as the gatekeeper for this kind of thing, but also educate maybe your team, because maybe they have no clue about what is SBOM. So educate them about this, about what is SBOM and how many to use that. Again, SBOM is a living document. So it's not something that you just create once and when you submit it to the authorities, then you are safe. No, keep it as a living document. So because during a notified body audit, a surveillance audit, they can come and ask you, can you show me the SBOM? And if you haven't updated that since the last 5 to 10 years, there is a big problem here, because even every year, I suppose there will be some updates and some changes on versions of some of those components. So make it like a living document. So make it also on your procedures that you have to verify if this is still valid or not, if there is still some issues or not, or whatever. Because even maybe you have some old version of some of those components, you have also to verify if there is some new version, why there are some new versions, because maybe there were some vulnerabilities also about those components. So keep it really a living document, but educate your team about that also. So now, if we look forward, so many cybersecurity is only going to become more and more important. And I think you understand that because you live in this digital world. So let me highlight you with 3 big trends that may happen. I'm not an oracle, so let's see. The first one is the NIS2 directive in Europe. So many hospitals, health operators must comply to it. And what they will do is that they will push that down to device manufacturers also. So mainly they will ask you to be compliant also to that, because they have to be compliant to that. The second one is EU AI Act. You heard about that. If you are using artificial intelligence, then anything about data privacy, cybersecurity, data integrity, they should be also using that as mandatory. So cybersecurity should be used mandatory for that. The last one is the certification schemes, mainly where there might be some cybersecurity certification that are asked, like EUCC, and mainly this can be becoming mandatory for medical devices. So when you hear that, you hear also that the message is clear. For now, if I can say, I hope, I don't know when you are listening to this video, for now you are maybe safe with your small cyber documentation, but in 2-3 years maybe this will not be possible anymore. So start to be ready now, or start to educate your company now, so that you are really becoming on the top of your company for that, and not be affected in 2-3 years and say, oh, I didn't know, or I had another priority or whatever. Make it now, educate your team now, and try to have it now available. Okay, so let's now finish with a checklist, mainly for your quality and regulatory affairs people or departments. Here are some questions. I mean, they are related to what we just discussed before, but there are some questions that mainly you should ask yourself. So for example, do you have a cybersecurity hazard integrated in your risk file? Do you have a threat modeling report or a penetration test results that you have already done? Do you have policies for secure the updates and vulnerabilities disclosure? Do you have a post-market workflow that is tested with a tabletop exercise, like a mock exercise that you are testing with your team? Do you audit suppliers for cybersecurity? Do you maintain a SBOM? If you can tick most of those boxes, so you are in a really good shape. So I'm really happy that you listen to that. But if you are not, then don't worry. Here, as I've said, it's a step by step. So you can maybe start with asking your R&D team, can you prepare a draft to SBOM? Or you can do an exercise maybe of verifying what is available actually, what you should do, etc. As I said, it's an exercise of education. So it's step by step, you will start to put in place something. Even just putting a form on your website about getting information that there is a threat or vulnerability that somebody has discovered. So this is something that mainly is really important. So do it, because if you do that, auditors will see that mainly you are making the effort. Here, the point is mainly that cybersecurity is not, you should not see it as perfection. As I said before, you should not think that, oh, you should stop all threats. No, you should stop most of the threats, but we know that some you will not be able to stop, because every day or every time there is some new threats that are operating. But if you stay up to date, mainly you can avoid most of them. And mainly also the objective for you is to have, as we said at the beginning, evidence, documentation, show that you are really prepared and that also your team is trained. If you have SOPs or documentation that you want to show the auditor will ask you, okay, you are not doing that, the SBOM, for example, or penetration test or whatever, but your team should do that. So are they trained to that? So on your quality management system, you should show also that you are not the one that has just put that in place because you want to satisfy the regulators, but no, it's also used by your team and they are trained to that, and show the training of those people there. So I hope this video helped you mainly to start or to think or to inspire you about cybersecurity as a quality and regulatory affairs person, but mainly re-listen again to that, create all those action plans that I have mentioned to you, and try, as I've said, to be ready for an audit, because they will come and they will audit you and you have to be ready for that. And I hope this helps you mainly to get engaged. And if you have any question about cybersecurity for medical devices, don't hesitate to contact me. We have some service where we are helping companies about cybersecurity. We are using some partners that are really reliable. We have even trained them on medical devices, so they know really what are the requirements. So don't hesitate to contact us and we can really help you for your cybersecurity when you are developing, but also, as we said, post-market surveillance, mainly how to verify that. For example, if there is any change on some of the libraries of the open source things, then we can give you some reports of threats, possible threats, and maybe that you have to do some changes to your software. And remember also, when you do a software change because of a cybersecurity threat or issue, it's not considered as a significant change. Check again the MDCG if you don't believe me. So I hope all this is helping you. Thank you again, and I wish you a nice day.